I am not your robot, I am not a clone. Yeah, you are not my puppeteer and I am not a drone. Yeah, got a new master and I follow him alone. Roll a good life till I'm gone. It's on. Yeah. Yes, sir. Come on. Hey, I was born less than human. I know it sounds crazy, but I was really born a robot as a baby. No real life in me. I just played my role. No self-control, I just did what I was told. I got my first order, I was just a day old. But I didn't have a chance cause my heart was way cold. My heart took the orders, it couldn't break the mold. So undermined and I couldn't take control. So I was just chilling in my robot clothes with my robot friends and my robot flows. Living robot ways cause that's all I know. Till I heard I could be free from my robot soul. I'm like, why you always trying to control me? You are not my boss, that's the old me. Obviously, you don't know my style. I'm not a robot now. I am not a robot. I'm not a robot now. I am not a robot. I'm not a robot now. The crazy thing is, I ain't know I was a robot. So I ain't have a whole lot of plans for me to roll out. Thought I was unique, I thought that I was so hot. But I was just like them other drones, I was so lack. Brainwashed, I was listening to lies. The freedom that I thought I had was really a mirage. Made my own choices, but it was in disguise. The only thing I really did was pick a different lie. So I was still a drone, nothing but a clone. I only knew the lies cause it's all that I was shown. But I've been remade, my heart is no longer stone. With my ex-robots who could sing this song. Now I've been remade, and I'm no longer hello. A real man can't change everything that I
Hello? Hello? Ooh, okay, there we go.
Hello. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's up?
Y'all look a little bit bored. I have no friends.
All right. So, how are we all doing tonight, guys? We doing good? Wow.
That was weak.
Wow.
Are you
Come on.
doing good?
Ah, that's better. See, there
Not-
you go.
not
There
really.
you go.
Doesn't match up
That
with my
doesn't
energy,
satisfy
so.
you? No.
Okay, well, we're gonna do a little icebreaker. We're gonna play sit down if. So, everybody up on your feet.
Maybe this will
That
get you
means
guys all
everybody.
excited and warmed
Every
up.
single person in this room on your feet.
No,
Let's make sure
not
everyone's
yet.
up. Can't see past that thing. There you go. Okay. Okay. All right.
All
We're
right.
gonna start this off with sit down if your favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate. Ooh,
me
I
see it.
expected
Let
a
me
lot
see
more
it.
people to sit down. Wow.
All the people who sat down, you're correct. All right? That's all I got to say. What's your favorite ice cream?
Banana.
Ooh, banana. Banana.
Cold Stone banana ice cream.
Okay. All right. All right. I guess that
Well,
makes it a
thank you.
little bit more acceptable. All right. Let's see.
All right, everybody back up.
Yeah, everyone sit back up. Sit back up.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Sit down if you play sports. Let
I
me
would
see
sit
it.
down, but
Let me
I
see
don't
it.
feel like it.
Ooh.
I'll squat. No. Okay, wait.
Will they go to competitions?
My school's band is not a sport, but like Lainey, yes.
Yeah. 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 Sit down, Janelle. I see you. I see you.
I can't see.
Yeah.
past the lights. They're blinding.
All
Not a lot of
right.
people,
All right.
wow.
Go ahead and stand back up.
All right,
Stand
everybody back up. Now, I expect a lot of people to sit down for this one, so sit down if you go or went to a public school. And there it
Sit
is.
down for like all of these.
Well,
Wow, that's a lot. All right.
I get to stay standing. You know what? Private school kids are cool too. Thank you very much. Exhibit A.
What school do you go to? You're homeschooled? Ooh, all right, all right.
Psh, Wilmington Christian Academy is better.
All right, everyone can stand back up. Go ahead.
Everybody back up.
All right.
Everybody back up.
All right. Sit down if you have more than one sibling.
I don't.
It doesn't
I
matter.
get to stay
Just brothers or
standing. I
sisters.
have
Wow,
one
that's
sibling.
a lot of people. Dang.
That is a lot of people. Wow.
I mean, I guess I should sit down too, because I have a big brother. So.
Okay.
All right. Everyone can stand back up.
Back up.
Yep.
I expect a lot of people to sit down for this one too. Sit down if you are right-handed. I want to see who's left-handed.
Hey, all
For
my
some reason, I don't believe
lefties.
that, Jordan. I feel like you're right-handed.
Yeah, I see you,
Okay,
lefty.
there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's more left-handed people than I thought. Wow. Okay. I knew Hunter was. I knew
All
you were
right,
left-handed.
everyone, stand back up. Stand back
All right,
up.
last one.
All right. Let's see. Sit down if you own more than 2 pairs of shoes.
Does that count about wearing them or owning them? 'Cause,
Just owning,
these are the
owning
only
them.
ones I wear, but I have
But
a bunch.
own?
Okay, fine.
Own. Wow.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
That's
All
pretty
right.
neat. All right. Hold on, I have one more.
Oh.
Everybody back up.
All right.
Sit down if you have a bald spot in the back of your head.
Yeah. Way to own up to it. Yes.
Oh, Irvin sat down too.
All right, guys. Well, you guys can all sit back down now. That's it. That was
Yep,
just
yep.
a little something to get to know you guys, maybe get to know your neighbor. We are going to go ahead and move on to announcements. We have 3 tonight. Let's go ahead and
Yes.
see that first one. We have student next steps on Sundays. We are meeting back up here again for Sundays in person at
9:30
9:30
and
and
11
11. So, we have upstairs? Yeah, it's
upstairs.
upstairs. Not in here.
Up there.
Upstairs. Upstairs.
There's big churches in here. Sign up
Yes.
ahead of time if you didn't hear the guy
Yes.
with the bald spot in the back of his head.
All
right, next announcement.
Next up.
The Wake Zone. We are looking for more production volunteers. The people who run the sound and the lights are very low, so we need more people to sign up for that and help out over there. If you need any more information, talk to Felipe, the guy with the bald spot in the back of his head.
All right, let's see the next one. The Super Bowl party. Woo! Who's ready for the Super Bowl?
I don't know who's playing, and
All right,
I
I
haven't
see
paid
a few.
attention to any
I see a
football this
few.
year, so
All right, all right.
I could care
Does anyone?
less. Aw, don't be so mean.
Wow, you really had to call
You're
him
so mean,
out.
Philip.
Wow. Yeah, but we are having a Super Bowl party February 7th at 6:30.
You will have to sign up online.
Yes. Great thing is, though, is that it's not just you guys. You guys can bring your family, your siblings, your friends, whoever you want to bring. You can bring with them. You guys just got to sign up online and get a
Yes.
spot. So, yeah.
We're watching
This
it on
big
that.
thing right here.
I don't even know
Yeah.
who's playing, and I haven't watched any football. But I'll come. Sure,
Look, the
why not?
Falcons and the Panthers didn't make it to the Super Bowl, so I could care less.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Do we have any first-time guests?
Ooh. First time guest?
Any first-time guests? Ha, ha,
Gracie,
ha,
put your
ha,
hand
ha.
down. I see you. Put that hand down. Mm-mm.
We're not going to embarrass you. We're not going to be like Dustin and try and make you dance in front of everybody. We're just going to give you some candy.
Yeah,
Any
who doesn't
first-time
want candy? No,
No first-time guests? All right, well, then we're going to move on to our game this evening.
Yes. Ooh, our game.
So for this game, we're playing Jeopardy. Jeopardy!
Jeopardy.
All right, who here likes Jeopardy? The show lives on. The show lives on.
It's Jeopardy.
Jeopardy. Jeopardy.
Yes.
That does not.
Jeopardy.
That doesn't sound right. Jeopardy.
All right. Well.
All right. So we need teams of 2, boy and a girl. So if you want to play, please raise your hand. Come on, raise those hands. I'm going to pick first. No one over here is. Oh, I have one person. I'll take you. Come on. All right. Are you there? Huh? All right.
What's your guys' names?
Yes, we need names.
Aurora? And what's yours?
Michael?
Michael?
All right.
Awesome, awesome. Nice to meet you
Sit
guys.
right over here.
I'm sorry
All
you
right.
have to be on the losing team,
Um,
but.
Yeah, no.
All right.
You're here.
Everyone wants to be on my team.
You're,
Let's
you're
admit
my
it.
team.
Let's see. I like.
That, okay, if hands went up after I chose, you know what? Okay, you know what? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
All right.
It's fine.
You look very excited. You in the sparkly heart shirt? Yes, you look very excited. Yes, girl. What's your name? Haley? It is very nice to meet you. And I'm going to need a boy. Let's see. We're gonna do you right there in the green shirt.
All right.
What's your name? I'm Joseph. Joseph? Awesome. All right.
Okay, so the way this is going to work, question pops up. You have roughly 10 seconds to answer, and then we move on. All right?
All right.
All right. First question.
It goes down. Let's go.
There are, I can't say that number, it's a big number. Black spots in this movie. Yes, someone counted them all.
Ooh, all right. I guess that's for your team to answer, right? Yeah. They're so gonna lose. They're gonna lose. We're gonna crush them. It's gonna be.
Where's our Jeopardy music? This is very uncorrelated. Okay, we have an answer. Our answer is the Bee Movie. The Bee Movie. Yes, they do.
What kind of bees are you seeing? All right. Well,
All right,
is the
correct
answer
answer?
gonna pop up? Let's see that answer. What is?
Oh my gosh!
Nation? Oh man!
I feel really stupid right
Wow.
now. Oh my gosh.
Dang, that is a lot
Why
of
would
spots
someone
to
count?
count.
Okay, whoever
Oh my
counted that must have
gosh.
had no life.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't got that time. So, all
Oh my
right.
gracious.
Well,
Okay, all right.
it's
Question
our turn,
number
guys. Let's go. Let's see that next
2.
question. The occupation of the man who climbed a tree to see Jesus.
They got the easy one.
There's our
This
music.
is not Jeopardy. Is this Jeopardy?
All right, we got our answer. You want to go ahead and say it for me?
A tax collector.
All right, let's see that answer. Woo! Yeah!
That wasn't fair.
Woo!
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. We got this. Next question, please. In this classic game, a yellow dot wanders through a maze eating smaller dots. We have an answer. Our answer is
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Ooh, okay. All right.
coming-
You
we
know what?
coming
That
for
was
you?
just too
We
easy.
coming
They
for
just
you?
they just felt bad. That's all. That's all.
Sure.
All right, let's see that next question. Ow. All right. The only Disney animated movie whose title character doesn't speak. Ooh. Do we have an answer?
This one's hard. Shh. No answers from the audience.
You know what? We're just gonna go with the Little Mermaid. We're gonna see if it works. Let's see that answer. What is Dumbo?
If anything, she talks too much.
She does. She does. She
Okay.
does.
Next question, please. What is that? Oh, he's wow. Okay. Besides gold and frankincense, this was the third gift from. the wise men for baby Jesus? Answer. Our answer is
Myrrh. Ooh, okay. All right. All right. Let's see that next question. The all-time leading scorer in the NBA. I don't watch
I'm
basketball.
really
I
happy
don't
you got
know.
this question because I don't know the answer.
You guys got any ideas? Bro, this is why I play volleyball. All right, we're gonna try and guess to the best of our ability. What do we say, guys? We said
Maybe Michael Jordan.
we're going with Michael Jordan. Let's see. Who is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? I'm sorry if I butchered that.
I don't know how to say that.
I don't know.
Next question.
I play volleyball, man.
please. The last film personally overseen by Walt Disney. Oh. What?
Let's hear it.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
This one's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be.
10 seconds are passed, girl. You gotta answer.
Snow White. I don't know.
Snow White.
That's the first one that came to me. Jungle Book.
Ooh, the Jungle
That
Book.
was my childhood movie too.
Who likes the Jungle Book? Who out here likes the Jungle Book? Yeah,
That was my
yeah. It's a good
childhood
movie. It's a good
okay,
movie.
the live action ones don't do the animation justice.
That's true. I'll
That
take
is very
that.
true.
I'll take that. All right. Do we have any more questions? We got more? Ooh, we do. All right. The final wound to the dead body of Jesus on the cross. All right. Do we have an answer? Do we have an? You want to guess? You want to just let's just throw out a guess. Why not? Pancakes. Let's see. Let's see if it's pancakes.
Pancakes. What?
This his side was pierced, not pancakes. I can assure you guys. So. We're just not gonna talk about it.
This video game immerses. Okay, that's a big immerses its players into the most gritty and chaotic. That's such big wording. Hold on. Gritty and chaotic combat of World War II. We have an answer. We're gonna guess Call of Duty World War II.
All right.
It counts.
All
It
right.
counts.
All
Okay.
right.
What number question was that? 3 for us. We got more? Okay.
One more? One more? All right. The last book of the Old Testament. Yeah? Yeah? All right. We already got our answer. We're going to say the Testament. Oh. What is Malachi? Oh, well, we were going to say Revelation, so. Okay. Okay.
That doesn't.
Well, all right then. That was the last question. Yeah, 3-1.
Does that mean we won?
You know what? You know what?
And
It's
what did you say?
You
That
just
this was
got
gonna
the
be the
easier
loser
questions.
team?
That's all. That's all.
All right, we have some prizes for you guys.
Hey, nice work, guys. Thank you so much. Let me see that. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, that was fun.
Yes, it was.
It was especially fun for, the winning team. Maybe not so much for the losing team.
Ooh.
All right, well, let's turn our eyes to the screen and watch this video.
All right, so we're continuing our series Back to Basics. The last couple weeks, we've talked about just reading the Bible, why that's important, what it is. Hopefully in your small groups, you guys have been making some plans on how y'all can actually do that on your time at home. Start reading the Bible. Last week, we talked about praying, about how sometimes we overcomplicate the whole thing. We make praying seem like it has to be so much more difficult than what it actually is, but really, it's just something we're all good at. It's just talking to God. And hopefully, I've helped you to understand, and your small group leaders have helped you understand why those two things are so important. That if we're going to have any kind of actual relationship with God, those two things are the key that's going to get us there. Well, starting tonight, we're going to start to look at some of the passages in the Bible that are probably familiar to a lot of us. They're really some of the basic stories in the Bible, the ones that we see on Veggie Tales, that we hear about in kids' ministry. But we're going to talk about them from a different perspective, from a little bit older perspective, all right? So before we get started tonight, does anybody here ever find yourself rooting for the underdog? It can be in sports, in a movie, in a book. What's one of y'all's favorite underdog stories? Anybody? What's your favorite underdog story? David and Goliath. Hey, that was a churchy answer. Come on. Anybody else? What? The Bills and Chiefs. That was, unfortunately, did not turn out. I like Mahomes, but I was pulling for the Bills in that game because it would have been really cool to see them go. I mean, it's tough. I think at the end of the day, most of us like a good underdog story, and I think it's because, in a way, it kind of gives us some encouragement, right? When we see things in life that seem too big, or maybe we just don't seem big enough to handle them, seeing those stories kind of gives us encouragement and gives us a little bit of hope. Well, tonight we're going to be talking about probably the biggest underdog story ever. It is David and Goliath. So you're going to have a great night because we're going to talk about your favorite story. So probably, like I said, the greatest underdog story ever told. We've got this little barely teenage shepherd boy named David who fights a mountain of a man named Goliath. This man that the entire army of Israel, all these grown men and all their armor and all their weapons were absolutely terrified of. And not only does David have the guts to fight him when nobody else will, but spoiler alert, he actually wins. But why is this the first story that we're going to talk about? Obviously, it's not the first story in the Bible. It's not even in the first book of the Bible. And if we were really going to break down the fundamentals of the scripture, this is by far not the first place we would start. So why David then? And why this fight? Because he had a lot of them. The answer's simple, because we still have giants today. We all still have giants in our lives. They just go by different names. They go by fear, anxiety, rejection, anger, greed, self-centeredness, discontent. Those are just a few. We all have a giant. We just call it something different. And the problem with those of us who have maybe heard this passage before or seen Dave and the Giant Pickle on Veggie Tales is that I believe we're getting the wrong idea of how we overcome these things in our lives. We're going to be looking at 1 Samuel chapter 17. So I actually noticed that some of you guys brought a paper Bible with you tonight, and that is actually really encouraging and really exciting. So if you've got a Bible, 1 Samuel 17, it's in the Old Testament. You'll have a minute if you need to look in the table of contents. 1 Samuel chapter 17. And as we're getting started, we're going to see this Philistine army. They're coming in to invade Israel, which they did quite often. And they get on the top of this mountain, and they look down over a valley, and they see on the mountain on the other side is Israel's army. Now, this is a valley that they would have to cross strategically there to get into Israel. Now, the problem is when you're fighting a war, the high ground is what you want, right? So whichever side decides that we're going to go down in the valley, you're kind of a sitting duck. And both sides know that. So they're just kind of camped out here, just kind of on a stalemate as to who's going to make the first move. And that's what we're going to pick up in verse 4. It says, a giant more than 9 feet tall stepped out from the Philistine line into the open. Goliath was his name, from Gath. He had a bronze helmet on his head and was dressed in armor, 126 pounds of it. He wore bronze shin guards and carried a bronze sword. His spear was like a fence rail. The spear tip alone weighed over 15 pounds. His shield bearer walked ahead of him. Goliath stood there and called out to the Israelite troops, "Why bother using your whole army? Am I not Philistine enough for you? And you're all committed to Saul, aren't you? So pick your best fighter and pit him against me. If he gets the upper hand and kills me, the Philistines will all become your slaves. But if I get the upper hand and I kill your fighter, you'll all become our slaves and serve us. I challenge the troops of Israel this day. Give me a man and let us fight it out together." When Saul and his troops heard this, the Philistines' challenge, they were terrified and lost all hope. So we've got this dude who's over 9 feet tall who says, hey, look, whoever comes down here, it's just going to be ugly. A bunch of people are going to die. Let's don't do that. Look, I'll just fight one of you guys, and then only one person's going to die, and whoever wins, your whole army wins. So he's 9 feet tall. That's literally like 1.5 of me tall. And that seems pretty big, but it seems bigger when you realize that the average grown man back then was about 5'3". So many of you are actually taller than what the average grown man was. So imagine somebody 5'3" looking at somebody who's as tall as 1.5 of me. On top of that, this guy's got a set of armor that weighs more than most of you that he's moving around in. He has a spear that just the tip of his spear weighs about as much as 2 gallons of milk. That's just the tip. On the end of a fence post is what they compare it to. So this guy was big and this guy was strong. And for almost 6 full weeks, every day, every morning, every night, he would come stand in this valley and he would hurl insults at the Israelites. He would hurl insults at their God. He would talk about how no one was brave enough to come fight him, how nobody could stand against him. And everyone just kind of took it. They just kind of looked around, waiting for hopefully somebody else is going to go, because I'm not going. And this went on for 6 long, depressing, discouraging weeks. They were basically just frozen by their own fear. Has anyone here ever felt like that in your life? Like maybe there's a person or a situation that maybe the situation's just too big, or maybe you just don't know what to do, so you just kind of do nothing. You're just kind of frozen in that moment. But the problem doesn't go away. And Goliath isn't going away. He just keeps showing up every day. And while all this was happening, they didn't have CNN and Fox News to kind of find out what was going on in the war. So there's this guy named Jesse. He's got some sons that are out there fighting or just sitting, really. And so he finds his youngest son, David, who looks after their sheep, and he says, hey, bring your brother some lunch and just kind of let me know what's going on, because he really has no clue what's happening in the war. And so he sends his son out there with food, and he gets there, and as David shows up, he hears Goliath out here just running his mouth. And he looks around, he's like, okay, well, who's going to go shut him up? And he gets kind of the same story from everybody. Well, we're kind of waiting on somebody. He just keeps coming out here every day, but we can't fight him. And so David kind of perks up and says, what do you get if you beat him? So, well, you get a lot of money. You get the king's hot daughter. And you never have to pay taxes again. Now, y'all don't really understand how big a deal that is, but you'll figure it out. Not ever paying taxes again is huge. And so David says, you know what? I can do it. And so the smallest of his brothers, the little shepherd boy, the absolute picture of a nobody from nowhere, walks up to the king, and in verse 32 he says, let no one lose heart because of this Philistine, because your servant, me, will go fight him. And it's kind of like a scene in a movie where everybody's doing their own thing, and then there's this little boy that goes up to the king, and David says this, and it's like everything stops. It's almost like everybody could hear. And the king looks at him and he's like, look, man, like, I appreciate your enthusiasm. That's really cool that you want to go out there, but like, have you seen you? Like, I'm sure compared to your sheep, you're pretty tough. But this guy is huge, and he's an experienced warrior. He's undefeated. He's been fighting since he was probably never as small as David, but since he was your age, and he's never lost. Hey, look, man, I'm really glad that you want to go, but maybe we'll go a different route. And despite the fact that all of that was true, that David was undersized, they didn't sell youth extra small armor at the local Walmart. He had nothing to wear, no weapons he could carry. Despite all of that, we just heard David say, "Let no one lose heart because of this giant. I got him." See, it wasn't just the people that were being insulted, it was God that was being insulted. And David wasn't going to just stand for that, and he knew God wasn't going to stand for it either. And there's a really important truth here that I want to make sure everybody gets. For those who have heard it before, whether it was with Miss Tammy and kids, whether it was Dave and the Giant Pickle, wherever you've heard it, we typically like to see ourselves as David, right? When we first hear it, we're ready to go grab some rocks and a slingshot and start slaying giants everywhere. And we're bold with it. Here's the problem. I thought the same thing. I was ready to take on all the giants in my world. The things that were holding me back, the sins I couldn't get past in my life, the whispers in my ear of shame and guilt, the things that said you'll never be good enough. But the problem is I grew up, and those giants, they were still there. So now I want to tell you what I believe is probably the most important part of this entire passage. You and I, we're not David in this story. We're not David. Jesus is. Now, I know this is the Old Testament, and little 8-pound, 6-ounce baby Jesus hasn't been born yet. This is probably about 1,000 years before he's even going to come on the scene, and so a lot of us think, no, that's not Jesus. But what we saw in that video is that there's 66 books written by 40 different authors over roughly 2,000 years, but they all tell one single story from the beginning of Genesis to the end of Revelation, and the story is Jesus. In Genesis 1:1, Jesus was there. In Exodus, Jesus is there. In 1 Samuel 17, Jesus is there. Who knows how this story ends? How does the story end? Say that real loud. David wins. So David goes out with a leather strap. It's not a slingshot with like a forked stick and two things. It's a piece of leather that you swing around, and when you let go of one side, it fires a rock out. He goes out with 5 rocks in that sling. And as he's getting close, Goliath looks at him and he says, "What am I, a dog that you're going to send this? Of all the things you have, this is what you send me is a kid with sticks." And David goes out and he winds that sling up, and the rock goes and it hits Goliath between the eyes. And the Bible says he was dead on his feet. Before he ever hit the ground, he was dead. And David takes off running. Takes off running towards Goliath. He doesn't know. He wasn't close enough to see. That rock could have missed or hit him on his helmet, and Goliath could have just laid there waiting on this little shrimp to get close enough to squeeze the life out of him. He doesn't have a clue, but he's sprinting towards Goliath. He's bold, and he's running, and when he gets there, he takes Goliath's sword, because remember, David doesn't even have one, and he cuts his head off. And what do you think the Philistine army did when they saw that? Anybody got a guess? They ran. They ran away. And so if I'm not David, and if you're not David in this story, then where are we? Where do we fit in this story? Let me rewind just a little bit. For 6 weeks, God's people lived in fear and anxiety. For 6 weeks, they accepted everything this giant told them was true. But the whole time, David was on his way. See, this situation, it didn't catch God by surprise. He wasn't shocked. He wasn't scrambling to find some kind of answer how to solve this unexpected problem and this huge giant that he didn't know where he came from. He already had a plan, and David was already on the way. Israel's army had victory before Goliath ever stepped into the valley. And so do we. See, we live in a world where, especially right now, we've got struggles everywhere around us. Everywhere. And inside of us, too. And it's almost as if sometimes they're taunting us. What can you do about it? You can't fix any of this. you don't really matter anyway. Can you really make a difference? Does God even notice you in the middle of this? And we spend so much time focusing on that problem. How big that problem is. How insurmountable that problem is that we forget about how big God is. And just like Israel in this story, you and I have already been given victory over those circumstances. It just sometimes doesn't look like or happen when we expect it to or want it to. But it's on the way. The battle in this passage was already won, yet the army still walked around with their heads down, defeated for what probably felt like an eternity, 6 weeks, day after day. The outcome was always going to be Israel wins. It was always going to be God wins. But Israel had a choice of how they were going to respond in the meantime. They chose to waste their time, afraid and defeated. How many of us are doing that? How many of us let situations in our homes, in our schools, our relationships with our parents or our friends cause us to live in a place of constant discontent, place of complaining, isolating, anxiety, fear, and anger, when God's giant slayer is already on the way? God has promised us victory already, so what will you do in the meantime? What would happen if we chose to live knowing that victory was coming? To trust that God already has a plan. And that's my challenge for you this week. Just to look up. To thank God for what He's doing in your life that you can't see. Those areas that you don't know what to do anymore. They're just too big. I'm challenging you to live your life like God's giant slayer is already on the way. Let me pray for you. Father, we love you. Just grateful for every student who's here today. And God, this is a little different version of this message than what we've heard before. It's so easy just to be encouraged to want to go out there and fight the fight, but sometimes being still is the hardest part. Sometimes being still and knowing that I can't see the answer, but the answer is there, is difficult. God, I just pray that with all the giants in our lives, and you know each one by name, even the ones that we don't know how to name, God, that you will give us courage to just stand. That you've already given us victory, and it's up to us how we'll live in the middle. That we won't waste our time defeated when you've already won. God, I just pray for every student in this room, for their families, for everything going on in their life. I pray that you'll bring healing and restoration to every situation that they deal with, and that you'll do it in a way where they know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you did this. God, I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, y'all can go ahead and break up to your small groups. If you don't know where to go, come up here and see me and I'll let you know.